All right, so now if you're paying attention to this video, you're probably going to notice some very important information, some information that you're probably going to find a lot of value in. And that is the rate information. Now, that's not necessarily what we're talking about today, rates, but what I would like to know, because I'm always seeking to make sure that we're providing value to you on these videos and make sure that we're helping you with building your freight broker business. So if you find value in that rate information that you see on the documents that I'm going to share with you, I would just like you to comment yes in the comment section and say rates. And what I'll do then is come back and share with you in a video all of my rates, or at least some of my rates, I should say, over this last year of what we're going to shippers at. That way you can see exactly what we're being paid for those lanes. And then it'll give you some idea of maybe where you want to start out when it comes down to bidding on some of the lanes that you may be bidding on. So if that would be helpful, if you would find that helpful, make sure you say yes in the comment section and say rates. And I'll get that out in a video coming up soon. All right, so the most important part for freight brokers when it comes down to load movement is making sure that we have the proper documentation, because the documentation is what allows for us to get paid, what allows for the carrier to get paid, what allows for the money to move. So we want to make sure that we have the proper documentation and we understand the documentation. You see, there are some statements on BOLs in particular, tenders in particular, that you need to know about, you need to have an understanding of. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. A particular statement called the SL&C, or the no SL&C statement. You need to know what that is and how you react to that. Because you very well could be seeing those statements, but just not having an understanding of what it is and how it works. I think it's important for you to understand, because as a service provider, as a bridge over troubled waters, you're going to want to make sure that if you can steer the ship away from the problem, we want to do so. And we can help to steer it away from a problem by making sure the carrier understands what type of load we're moving. Is it an SL&C load, or is it a no SL&C load? Let's hop over to the computer. I'm going to show you the paperwork. That way we can get a really good understanding of what it is and how it works. Now let's get into the business.
Okay, so what you see on your screen is called a tender. And my customer requires that I have a tender with every invoice in order for me to get paid. All the way to the bottom, you'll see it says, send in a copy of this confirmation with the freight bill. So it's required that I have this tender in order to get paid. Now, this tender is going to give you all the information about the load, where the pickup points are, and it's going to tell you when you're supposed to deliver it by, when you're supposed to make your appointments, and it's going to say carrier confirmed receipt. Please sign, date, and fax back this information. So I'll send this information back over saying that I received this from my shipper. Okay, but it says something very, very important that we have to look at. It says special note: driver counts product and verifies good condition of product. Now that's very important, because that indicates that this is a no SL&C movement, meaning that it's a no shipper loading count. So the shipper is saying that this is not about the shipper loading and counting and the driver just picking up and going to point of destination. No, we are requiring that the driver counts the product and verifies good condition of product. Because what the shipper basically is saying here is, yeah, we're going to load it, we're going to count it, but you're going to verify it. So when it gets to its destination, if it's short, then of course we're going to assign some responsibility. So the special note is going to clearly say that this is a no SL&C. Most of my shipments are no SL&C. 9 out of 10 are SL&C. Or excuse me, no SL&C. You get those SL&C on some shipments, some specific type of shipments, but I don't move very many loads at all that are SL&C movements. As you can see, the next one here, this is another tender. It says the same thing: driver counts and verifies product, no SL&C. This third one also says the same thing. So I'm showing you these to show you that they are always going to be specific instructions on BOLs or on your tender, and you want to make sure that you are aware of what those instructions are so that you can pass that on to your carrier so that everybody's on the same sheet of music. So when loads are picked up, it's understood exactly what I'm responsible for as the carrier. And when they're delivered, if anything is short, then we got to make sure that we understand why it came up short, because there are going to definitely be some responsibility assigned if it is short. Now, of course, we have seals as well. So now if the seal is broken, then that means that the load has been compromised. If that seal is not broken, then the load has not been compromised. So if you have a seal that has not been broken and you have products that are short, then of course that means that something may have been wrong with the count or something happened with it at the destination when you, of course, dropped it off.
So now what you'll notice is that on all three of those documents, it said no SL&C. So now when you have no SL&C, you don't have the protections that you have with SL&C loads. And what I mean when I say protections, it's protections against claims. That's why shippers like to use no SL&C. All right, so now that's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information has been helpful. Don't forget, if you think it would bring value for us to share some of those rates with you that you saw on those documents that we just shared, remember to comment yes and rates in the comment section, and we're going to get out that information in the next video. Just cut that bottom half off, as that's probably how we'll do it. Hadn't decided exactly how we'll share it with you, but we'll get that situated and then we'll get that information out there in a nice video. Also, if you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, I'm going to leave a link in the description. It's my free 5-video series titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It'll give you an up-close and personal look into the freight broker business, let you see exactly how it works. It'll show me in my office, moving loads, talking to shippers, talking to carriers. That way you can get a feel for how this thing works before you actually come into it. And then if you want to know how we get customers, I'm going to leave you a free video titled How We Find Shippers. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.